Welcome to Lesson 3 of Module 6. We are moving right along and making sure your classroom is ready to go for day 1. In this lesson, we'll talk about ways you can make sure deadlines of your flipped classroom are clearly communicated with students so that there really is nothing that you can control holding them back from succeeding in your classroom. In your flipped classroom, there are 2 huge things you want to communicate clearly with no confusion with your students. One being when flipped videos are due and where they go to access those videos. Honestly, you really want to repeat these things until you're blue in the face, especially at the beginning of the year, those first couple weeks of flipping. But I'll also recommend some other ways to go about communicating well with your students. So let's get to it. It seems like overkill, but I recommend having 2 spots for students to know when they have notes due. One being your course calendar. You spent some time building this up back in Module 1, and then even in this module, beefing it up. It would be super easy to just duplicate that calendar, delete all the items students don't need to know, anything really except for due dates, and give them access. We've talked about this already, so I don't want to waste your time and rehash the idea of your flipped classroom calendar. I'm just saying here that you want to consider how that calendar will be available to your students. The other spot, because I do recommend having 2, is wherever they look when they walk in your room. For me, that was on my daily slides. In the flipped classroom, you won't have the slides you normally do because your slides are ones you make videos with. So what I recommend doing is making what I call daily slides templates for each unit. Let me show you. In the PDF guide of this lesson, you'll find a link straight to this Google presentation. You are welcome to make a copy and make it yours. Don't forget to switch in your Bitmoji though. You'll find in that slides doc that there wasn't just these slides where students were reminded of homework and told their bell ringer, but I actually copy and pasted in other slides that I knew I would need to either explain directions or go over some sticky concepts kids were confused on. Notice the most important part I said there. I copy and pasted, meaning I used what I already had in my traditional classroom and just put it in one spot in this slides template so I wasn't needing to click all over the place in class. I then posted these slides to my Google site, so if students were absent, they could at least see the bell ringer and instructions for the day. And just to clarify, I made one of these for each one of the units and put it up on my Google site in those unit tabs. The second of the 2 things you want to be crystal clear on communicating to your students is where they go to watch their videos and giving them plenty of ways to get there. First, you'll want to make sure that in your first day stations or on the day where they all go to your website, that they take the 2 seconds to bookmark it. But that might not work for all of them. So what I've done previously is print on cardstock a small, let's say 2x2 inch QR code for each student. And then I went around the room with packaging tape and we taped that bad boy right on the inside cover of their binders. Bam. They always had access to their class website. For Android phones, they could just download a QR code reader, but also for iPhones, just use the camera because that now identifies QR codes on its own. I would also make separate QR codes for each of the units on my website and put those on the unit guides that I printed and handed out to students. That was a little overkill, I'll admit, but some students seem to appreciate it. If you are feeling a bit overwhelmed by all of the things to do, feel free to put that last suggestion on the back burner for a little while. The last place that I posted links was both on a bulletin board in the classroom and on a tab in my course website. The bulletin board in class included multiple QR codes that I made rather large so that students could scan those easily. The biggest one being to our Google site, but others included our Quizlet class, as well as my YouTube channel, the Remind app, and the school website, and plenty others. Setting up your avenues of accessing your flipped classroom for your students this way, right at the start, is going to be something that takes a huge weight off your shoulders. You told them where to go. Now you just have to put the information there and they'll get it. Of course, making sure that you use the processes we discussed in a previous module about holding them accountable for, in fact, getting it, right? Taking those notes. I hope that even one or two of these are easy to implement for you as you prepare to push launch on your flipped classroom. So for this lesson, your take action pieces would be that now that you fine tune that calendar, make sure it's ready to go for students with clear deadlines, and even maybe just duplicate it and tweak it a little bit to make it accessible for students. Set up your daily slides, get those QR codes ready to tape in their binders, and then set up a bulletin board. And you could do a combination of also putting those quick links in a tab on your Google website. Now, in the next lesson, we'll chat again about communication, but this time with parents. Dum dum dum. This is a hard one for any classroom, but can really be your ally in the flipped classroom. And I'll tell you why in lesson 4. So when you're ready, click next, and I'll see you there.